Hi, everybody. Welcome back to another edition of VCTV. I'm your host, Kyle Ellicott, and we are back here to speak about a very important topic, one we've covered multiple times throughout almost every episode, but we've decided to dedicate a full session today to it, and that's business inclusion. What's happening in the world? What has changed throughout 2020, and how has that welcomed more into the world of business, starting businesses and applications, along with investing as well, so that you as investors know where to start placing some very exciting bets for the decade ahead, and entrepreneurs, new opportunities and new ideas for you to start building, or new markets for you to start entering as well. We brought together some of the best and the brightest from around the world to share with you their thoughts and insights around this topic, in addition to different technologies, industries, and regions around the world where this is being impacted as well. But before we go ahead and get started and introduce each and every one of them today, a big thank you for you tuning in. If you're liking what you hear, click subscribe. Do reach out if you'd like to be on a show like our panelists today. And also be sure to check out the archive online, as we have all episodes covering from all areas around the globe and time zones, covering all the industries, technologies, and regions around the world as things are developing from an investment standpoint as well. And entrepreneurs, what better way to jump off and kick start 2021 and the year ahead than joining us here on the virtual stage we've built for you on VCTV to pitch us as investors interested in your area to hear about your company, product, or service, give you real-time feedback, build relationships together, and get exposure to the entire VCTV community. Reach out and we'd love to find a right spot for you. Last but not least, the team. A big thank you to the LATOKEN team for making VCTV possible every single day, even in this wild and crazy 2020. With that being said, I'm your host. Let's go ahead and kick it off and introduce our panelists. Jason, welcome back to the show, my friend. A little intro, a little background for everybody.
Great. Well, thank you for having me back. I've been very active in the entrepreneurial and investment community throughout the U.S. and the Midwest for the past 20 years, done a lot of different things to support the ecosystem. I run the Founder Institute chapter in Chicago. We have now had over 100 founders in the past 9 years complete our program in Chicago. And I also launched Propellant Ventures, which is a seed stage investment fund focused on investing in the growth of Chicago and the greater Midwest in the US, focused on B2B industries such as healthcare, future work, fintech, edtech, and supply chain.
So I'm glad to be Welcome back. Hey, glad to be here. Glad to have you back on the show as well. For those who haven't checked out Propellant, definitely do. It's a really outstanding fund. Jason and his team do a fantastic job of supporting their founders and giving great feedback as well. So do reach out to Jason and his team. With that, Adrian, welcome back to the show. The TikTok man himself, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back. A little intro, a little background.
First, because tomorrow is New York City, I brought the champagne. It's from Moldavian Republic. Krikova is a famous brand. I'm not savvy in this type of things, but I'm involved in a few projects. I'm an entrepreneur and investor. Cloudcoin Consortium is one of the projects. Cloudcoin is a post-blockchain digital currency. Faster Capital is a Dubai-based accelerator for an incubator for companies. And also I'm a mentor in Richard Branson's Virgin Startups in UK. Happy to be here and to celebrate the end of the year and the beginning of 2021. Excited.
Absolutely. And we're excited to have you as well. And Jose, welcome back. It's been a few minutes since we've seen each other and talked about today's topic a little bit, but excited to have you. And business inclusion is a very important part of your world at BizMoney. Before we get into that whole bit, just a quick intro and background for everybody.
My name is Jose Graza. I'm today the chairman and the CEO of BizMoney Corp and the president of the BizMoney Fund. We're entirely focused on the initial stage for looking out for talent. We stop at the point that professional investors take off. So basically we are a complement, and I've been in the ecosystem now for quite a long time, almost for 40 years in many roles, like a serial entrepreneur initially, then business angel, VC, also as a mentor and an advisor. And I've also been taking part in venture contests as a how do you say that in English, by the way? I never can say that word. As somebody who is basically selecting people, and I always, never come up with that word. So basically, I'm very well in the ecosystem, especially in Europe, very active, and yeah, that's what I do.
Wonderful. And again, also everyone, make sure you check out BizMoney as well. Noble, the man of the hour when it comes to everything gaming and NFTs and in between AR and VR. I'm throwing out all the buzzwords that I definitely sum up you and investing traditionally and venture. Boom. Noble Jacome, welcome back.
Thank you, Kyle. Yeah, thanks, Kyle. You hit it all. I've been in investment space for 28 years. I started off as a broker. Since then, I became an expert in stock and options investing and trading. And so I wrote the books, Winning the Trading Game, Trade Like a Pro. And as a founder, I've been in the mobile paging industry when paging was popular and the conversion from pagers to the mobile telecommunication we have now. I did a patent on augmented reality and virtual reality to develop games and integrate AR with clothing. And now we've been doing NFTs and blockchain in the gaming space for people to profit. But what I've been most excited about is we've created a venture fund with M Accelerator in Los Angeles to help 300 startup companies focusing 100% on inclusion, finding both minority, women, and underserved populations, and just kind of backing them to get their first initial 50 to 100,000 to help them launch and grow. I've been a consultant and a mentor. I've worked with Expert Dojo and multiple people. So I appreciate being here on BCTV.
Absolutely. Appreciate you being here as well. And on that note of M Accelerator, also noticed some news just earlier this week that one of the founders of Electric Capital and a few friends have put together a small fund offering about $400,000, so 400K USD, to entrepreneurs looking to get started and build their first business pre-idea. In some cases. So going to today's topic, we'll be talking a little bit about that. But last but not least, crypto superwoman herself, ladies and gentlemen, has decided to grace us with her presence at the end of the year, which is so exciting. She's got so much to talk about, from space to crypto to blockchain to gaming to everything in between. Irina, welcome back to the show.
Thank you so much, Kyle. Such a pleasure to be back. I missed you guys a lot, and it's nice to know that Christmas wasn't canceled, and it was a nice surprise for me. So the celebrations and everything worked out as the same, and it's great to be back though, right before the end of the year and finishing this. We spent so much time together this year, and I'm just really looking forward to the next one. But my name is Irina Litchfield. Many know me as a crypto superwoman. I'm founder of Blockchain Cube, which is blockchain integration company. So usually we do technical architecture design during not busy years, and during bull runs, for the most part, we do integration. So we take companies in and we integrate them into the crypto world, if you would. I'm also president of Lumeria. Lumeria is where capital meets innovation. We are a group of people who are dedicated to democratizing opportunities and investments for everybody around the world, including accredited investors here in the US, which sounds funny. Also, I am founding advisor of a global securities exchange. It's just that it's a securities exchange that's global. And then I am a founding advisor of Space Fund. And Space Fund is first venture capital firm. And they closed their first fund already, and they're raising their second fund, which is going to be more of a kind of a medium stage investment. So not just early stage AB, but CD and plus. So we're very excited about that. I'm also advisor of ProChain Capital. It's a hedge fund capital that is actually run by my husband. He's a CTO, so it's fun. It's fun to be the kind of people call us power couple, because we do work on several projects, and it's just great. because I can get him do whatever I need him to do. So, anyway, guys, and then also Med Network, which is blockchain solution for advertising layer, payments layers, and then of course ECVA, which is your blockchain solution for all your organizational needs within a company. And it's a pleasure to be here.
Wonderful. Pleasure to be here. Glad to be here as well. Shout out to Justin, your husband, who hopefully is listening to today. But welcome back, everyone. It's so exciting to talk about today's topic, really, because 2020, and we've all been celebrating various moments throughout this year together, as Irina had mentioned, talking on VCTV about different things that have been happening, things we've been seeing, new opportunities that have arisen, things that have kind of also gone away as this year has really transformed so many industries and lives as well. I mean, in 2020, we saw the rise, a huge surge, I should say, in platforms like SD and Shopify and others, opening up new marketplaces, giving people the chance to open up businesses they have may have never otherwise. We saw some businesses kind of go away and no longer in business. But we've also seen this opening of opportunity throughout the world, whether it be because of the power of low code, no code solutions, as we talked about earlier today, whether it be the rise of things like gaming and NFTs, whether it be the rise of some of the other areas of technology and industries that we've talked about. Marketplaces have opened up for so many in ways that were easier than ever here this year. And we'd love to hear from each of you as we come to close in 2020 and are looking ahead to 2021. What does business inclusion look like for each of you as investors in the year forward? 2020 is wrapped just about, and we've had so much transformation of everything. Now going forward, what does it all mean? And what does it all open for us looking ahead? Jason, let's start with you.
Yeah, I mean, business inclusion and diversity is obviously a very top of mind for people these days. And so, I've seen a lot of different funds here in the Midwest. I know it's around the world and around the US, but a lot of new funds that are focused on investing in diverse founders. And and some of them are new funds with existing VCs, or could be a spin out of another company. But I've seen a lot of that happen lately. And so it's just providing more opportunities for different type of founders that may not have had as much access to capital. And I've always been I've always thought about diversity inclusion in all the things that I do. With the Founder Institute in particular, we have some of the most diverse cohorts that I ever interact with of founders. So it's always been something I've been a part of. And same thing with Propellant Ventures. I mean, diversity, inclusion, all that is still important. I mean, ultimately, we want to invest in the right entrepreneur and the right opportunity, but also being very aware of also having diversity. And so I'm absolutely, so for me, it's just opening up the opportunity landscape a little bit more and looking at maybe some things that's not necessarily for me, but some things other people may not be looking at. But for me, I'm looking for the best opportunities, but of course, having diverse founders are important, and also for investors, diverse investors. It's good to have diverse perspectives no matter who you're working with. So for me, that's all important. And I see this coming year, it's going to accelerate significantly because a lot of these efforts are underway, and next year is really when a lot of these will start to be implemented. So, the Don Thompson, who's a former CEO of McDonald's here in Chicago, has a venture capital fund for food, but he's launching one for diversity. I think it's $100 million fund to invest in underrepresented founders. So there's a ton of activity like that happening now. So it's really going to accelerate, more investment into founders that may not have had the opportunities like they should. So I think it's this next year is going to be really good.
It's a great point. I mean, this year was if you will, a framework year. It was a picks and shovels year. It was a stage setting year as well to a lot of things that needed to change, or maybe we didn't know, but were forced to change as well, and also introduce some things as well for us going into the years in front of us. And Jose, I want to bring you in next, because this is a topic, again, very important to you and the Biz Money team, but also, I mean, you look beyond founders. You talk a lot about the everyday person, anyone being able to open up an opportunity or a business, whatever it may be. So same question to you. What does business inclusion investing look like for you next year?
For us, it looks like giving the capacity to every individual to basically kick off their own business. It doesn't matter if you're the cream of the cream. What matters is that you have this dream and that you are able to make this dream happen. The problem, in essence, is that not everything is solved with money. We think money solves everything, but that's not the case. The problem is that 45 million people every year, not only in the US, all over the globe, they have this dream, and 20% of global population has this dream to have a different lifestyle. And the lifestyle is becoming financially independent and also being able to determine whatever they want to do for their lives in the future. Now, the only way you can make this happen, at least in their minds, for most of them, is that it's building up a business that will provide both of these options. But building up that business without any track record prior or family experience, fathers or parents that have businesses before, you are facing a very big problem that you don't know how it works. You don't have the knowledge. There are no schools that can able to teach you how to make it happen. So we pick it up from there. What we say is that for us, it's like we invest in talent. Talent is that you don't need to be innovation or something special. Talent for us is somebody that has a dream. That's the talent for us. So if you have talent, if you have a dream, then please reach out to us, because we want to help you to make that dream come true. And we have a special training program that we're going to kick off in January. It's not an incubator. It's not an accelerator. It's a training program that everybody can follow. And in 6 months, you do an assessment at the end, and we basically give you a certificate that you become what we call a professional entrepreneur. What means a professional entrepreneur? It means that you have the basic knowledge to make it happen by yourself. Now, if you need money afterwards, that's fine. But we want to provide you an ecosystem that you are able to kick it off yourself, at least that you become investor worthy. That's where we stop. Once you become investor worthy, then the VCs or the private equities or the business angels, those who are professional investors that look for unique things, they can pick you up from there. Because even if you are not unique, but you are generating revenues, then suddenly you become interesting to them. Also to banks that want to give you loans, because you can pay back and you can guarantee the return that they are looking for. And that's different from us. We don't look for any return. What we look for is that you can kick it off and we make money with you on a performance basis. So it's a different principle. So what I see is that that's what's going to happen in 2021. And I'm very happy to see today here that all my friends here are in this final session of the last year. It's really very, very, very good to see everybody. Makes me really happy, especially on this topic, because I think this topic basically teaches us that it's in and it touches everybody.
Absolutely. And thank you, Jose. And Adrian, I want to come to you next to add on to Jose's point, but also same question. You focus a lot in the blockchain and the digital currency space, which has opened a ton of opportunities for people this year in 2020, but more so anything else to add? And again, what does business inclusion look like for you in next year?
I come from a small country in Eastern Europe, from Romania, and this part of the world, Eastern Europe, is pretty underserved in terms of venture capital, investments, mentoring, and things like that. And the legend says that at Microsoft, Romanian is the second language after English. And Romanians are pretty good professionals in so many in so many industries. And recently, a company which was born in Romania became Decacorn. I'm talking about UiPath, which is New York based right now, but has Romanian DNA. So I was thinking to create a fund at the beginning of next year to focus on this part of the world and to find and to nurture the next, Google's, Amazon's, Facebook from this part of the world. We as Romanians, we have a mindset problem because we are a conquered territory. If we are looking at the history, so in our DNA is this uh, defeat type of mindset. If I can make myself clear, and to reach our potential, we need to dig a lot inside of our mind and to remove those blockages. And it's not something which is only a Romanian problem. Many people have that. And I would like to focus on this type of work to help as many people as possible to reach their potential. And for a founder, it's very important, because if a founder can't reach his potential from the mindset point of view, in the real life will fail a lot with businesses and will be a nightmare for him to develop himself into a successful founder. And this type of work, let's say, is became part of my why. So I would like to focus a lot on it, on it during 2021, because the next big thing in tech and in any new industry can come from anywhere. It can come from Africa, from Romania, from even from Antarctica. It doesn't matter, because you can learn anything from YouTube. You can follow educational initiatives like this one to enter into the minds of people who are more successful than you. And the business inclusion, from my point of view, is to give the chance to anyone who's up to the challenge to put the work, the effort, the grit, the hustle to make it happen, and to give the ropes to these people and to help them succeed. This is what business inclusion means for me.
Thank you, Adrian. Arena.
Yes, thank you. I appreciate you guys are saying this. I think that the most easiest things we can think about when we think about business inclusion is actually supporting female founders. It is very challenging to be a female founder in the world out there and actually get things done. And that comes to really finalizing businesses and also fundraising. And now the world is like this. It looks like everybody is inclusive, and it looks and people say and they discuss, but when it comes down to business, it is a tough world out there. And so I think that it's one of those very cheap shots we can do, is to where if we just all make a dedication in 2021 to just really concentrate our attention to bringing female founders and supporting female founders and building better partnerships and really supporting them, I really believe that it will excel us in the inclusion, one. And two, women by nature think in a diverse way, so they'll pull in the rest of the diversity. So I think it's kind of like really just a great one thing to concentrate about in making in a way of how do you put less effort in making a world a better place. So it's just kind of that decision making that just besides doing, make an effort and say, I'm going to make this my goal and I will make that happen. And so then you just kind of meet the numbers and not just an intention, right? The intention of the world is great, but people are not following through on that intention. And so I think that's one of the aspects. And then another thing for me that's very exciting about business and fundraising inclusion actually is what happened here in the US. We are closing year in a very, very strong note. As you know, SEC did a lot of decision making and finalizing in December. And basically what you can do now, and I mean, it's still, I still can't believe that that's a reality, but it is. Basically, with your alternative trading license, with your ATS, you can offer up to $75 million of primary listings to unaccredited investors. $75 million. When we think about $75 million to unaccredited investors, it means that when pre-sales happen, when pre-fundraising, before you in a crypto world, we call it, pre-whatever. I'm not going to use all those terms, but we all know what we're talking about. It allows for interesting modeling. And I think it's important because that's where often the business inclusion lays. While we need to give expertise to entrepreneurs, there's still that thing that they all come back and say like, okay, that sounds good, but like, how do I get money, right? The entrepreneurs constantly leave underfunded. If you're a CEO of a company, you're constantly dividing yourself. Do I run my company or do I fundraise? And usually what they have to do, they must do both things together. And they're supposed to dedicate 100% of their time to running their company while they're dedicating 100% of their time to raising funds. And as soon as you close your one round, you have to start raising the next one. It's like this circle of a never-ending, non-stop anxiety that that the world is. And I think that because of this new fundraising vehicles that SEC gave us, we can now allow our entrepreneurs relax a little bit and say, you know what, reprogram them in a way to where, okay, well, maybe spend 75% of your dedication to running company and then 25% to fundraising, because then you are very well balanced. And so to me, the future is very bright. I mean, 2021, we've done a lot of foundational work. We've talked a lot about the diversity. We're seeing a lot of people connecting all over the world, being included. Now, people are having, I mean, talking about inclusion, right? People from other countries, like from India, can call in and talk and then get feedback and receive, because you see, accents are hard. And previously to this year, there's just no way you would virtually be able to do any business at all if you're from another country and your accent is so thick that the person on the other end is sitting there being like, I don't know what you are saying. I just don't know, so I'm not going to take these calls. But we're all taking the calls. And that's inclusion too, because we're training ourselves how to parse through this, through the accents, and then following up on the emails, because we got to get stuff done. And of course, last thing, bull run for Bitcoin, guys. I mean, crypto world is on fire, right? And so buckle up, make the right decisions. And 2021, together with the acceleration of the space industry, together with Bitcoin and crypto bull run, I think that is going to be very, very exciting world. And both space and crypto are all about inclusion. So I think we'll just have explosion of all the goodness.
I love it. The explosion of all the goodness. That is a great way to put it. And last but not least, Noble, I want to come to you. I mean, gaming, you've mentioned this in previous episodes of VCTV, has opened a world and will continue to do so for so many around the world at all ages as well. NFTs, I mean, we can talk about this for hours on its own show, but NFTs have now started to open the world around art and creators. To you, what more and what do you see business inclusion looking like going into 2021 as an investor?
Well, first, with Adrian, I would love to support whatever he does in Romania. My first book was translated into Romanian, Futures pentru amici speculatori. And the U.S. Agency of International Development actually sent me to speak at the first ever risk management conference in Romania back in the early 2000s, right before ascension into the EU. So Romania has a very strong place in my heart. So I love the country. And I agree with all assessments that Adrian said. So I'd love to be a mentor and do whatever, be a part of whatever he's doing there. Because I do believe inclusion requires that we look outside of just specifically the issues of the United States, but globally. You know, I spoke with Jose the other day, and we talked about the global needs of everyone to be able to participate in the ecosystem. But I also think that there's three things that have to be considered. First and foremost, inclusion should not be a meme by many companies in order to look good. And I think that that's also, you know, we'll really see what inclusion really looks like in 2021. Arena's point to the fact that women founders need to be supported, particularly African American women founders who are highly underrepresented, but yet have a very aggressive push. You know, we'll see how aggressive this idea of inclusion is with all these funds being developed and how high the hurdles are in order for people to be brought in. I think the second thing too, that when we talk about inclusion diversity, it should also not be seen as charity. I think there's a confusion that because you're including people from third world countries, like Irina is talking about, people who have thick accents, etc., that all of a sudden, you know, we're being charitable and that we're wasting money on these projects. And you know, that's really not the perspective that needs to be taken. Inclusion is not meant to pick the worst. It's not an affirmative action development. The idea is that we should be looking at founders who are successful, creative, and are developing businesses, and all but for a little bit of extra capital and some guidance, their projects could be 10x or 100x. Is not just to be a way to throw away money and then make it as a negative part of the balance sheet. And so, you know, what we've done and how we're developing an M Accelerator, we are an incubator accelerator. It's been around a few years. I got involved later on, first as initially one of the cohorts, and then later on as an advisor to Alessandro over there. Is that, you know, they've always been, and the way Alessandro really developed the program has always been inclusive. With his background from being originally from Italy, he's got an extensive network of where he's focused on both Europe and Asia from the beginning and bringing in people. And he's always had a real good setup in which the cohorts have been highly diverse, both ethnically as well as, you know, 40 to 50% women at some points. So it's been a really, and so when I saw that, I really liked how he was making inclusive, educating people, taking them through the whole entire process of creating iterative design and growing from a place of helping founders understand everything that's necessary. So when we decided to do the fund, we made a really simple mandate: try and help 100 companies just get off the benchmark, and that's really where it is. A lot of people just don't even know how to get into the ecosystem of raising capital, interacting with angels, creating proper balance sheets, developing pro formas, and then being able to, at the same time, because I always call it, it's like you're running a marathon and tying your shoes at the same time, to be able to promote and then also run the business at the same time, to raise capital and run the business. And so it's an aggressive mandate to try and help 100 companies for such a small accelerator incubator, but that's our goal and our intent. And so I see in the future that a lot of companies are going to find it very arduous, to say the least, to really do the real work necessary. Like Jose creating a great platform where they're really just helping people to learn how to be founders. That's what's needed more so than just the equity and capital, because if you make the bar so high to even get the capital, and it lies fallow for a year or two when this is no longer a conversation piece, so that you can reallocate it later in 2023 because you have the time, then, like, did you really make a huge impact? And so I think that it's good that it's a psychological mean pushing, but I saw a similar activity happening after the LA riots, when all of a sudden everyone was, we're going to include, we're going to help people, and we're going to invest in the communities, and those communities are still underserved, highly impacted, and didn't wave the next two downturns as aggressively. So I try and operate on both an optimistic spectrum, but also a realistic spectrum of what I've specifically seen, and then how I've seen things play out iteratively when people are talking about they're going to allocate all this money, and then some reason it still stays on the right-hand side of the table and never really makes it to the left-hand side. So, I believe that, we're in a phase where there are great things happening, but inclusion also needs to be for people who are just impoverished, right? It's great that there's a Bitcoin bull market, but there's a whole swath of people who need to be included, who are of all ethnicities, who are just impoverished, who are poor, who are not going to go to work. And I don't see enough outreach to places like the Appalachians, the states that are in the United States who have lost entire factory jobs that need to be pushed and moved ahead. So it's great that we have these statements, but it'd be more important to see some really active movement, like what Jason's doing in Chicago, which is great. Being iterative, working with the South Side. I've had great talks with Jason how they're bringing more people in. But when you go to these areas in which have been so highly impacted in the United States, that you kind of bring them into the future and show them that there's Bitcoin, that there's other ways to build wealth, because there's just a lot of people who've kind of despaired between the older generation who have been highly impacted, who need to be included, and who aren't looking towards a Social Security, as the big savior, or pensions, that need to be protected. And then you have the millennials who are disenfranchised, who need to be included. And I love that, gaming is becoming a part of it, esports, alternative online ways to generate money, social media. But I think that we have to have just a really deep perspective on how to help everyone, the impoverished, not just based on ethnicity, but people who just don't have equity, and equity sometimes is the knowledge. And so it's always great to be on a panel of people who are actually actively doing things to really bring inclusion in a broad swath of people who need to be helped, and not just make it the new meme or the new idea. It's really something that's integral to how they function and operate, and even you, Kyle. So it's just good that inclusion going into 2021 has true advocates and not people looking for photo ops.
Absolutely. And thank you all so much. And this has been a great conversation, and so much knowledge shared, but we are coming to the top of the hour. So I want to make sure everyone gets in today, not just their closing thoughts, but their big, bold prediction for 2021. We're 2 days away, calling out the date here. We're 2 days away from the new year. We've had a crazy, wild year behind us, a very stage setting, or again, a framework year for what could be an exciting and transformational, not to buzzword out here, but a decade in front of us, with all the technologies and themes we've talked about over the years really starting to play out, probably even sooner than we think. As well as Jose, Gary, and I just spoke about quantum, and that it might actually happen a little sooner than we all predict, but nonetheless, closing thoughts on today's topic, your big, bold prediction for next year, and where can everyone find you online? Jason, let's start with you.
Yeah, I think that some of the technologies and innovation we've seen this year is going to continue to accelerate for next year. So future of work is still going to be quite big. There's acquisitions already starting to happen. Hopin has raised a lot of money. They just started acquiring companies. You're going to see some consolidation in that space. I think certain parts of fintech are going to continue to grow. Retail tech is growing and continuing to grow, and there's a lot of activity in that space. There's been acquisitions in Chicago and funding in that space, and I see that's going to continue throughout the world. So I think a continued acceleration. We're going to see some more IPOs as well. So there's going to be a lot more wealth created, I believe, next year. So I believe next year is going to be really strong in some of the industries I mentioned, but there will probably be some new ones or some things we didn't even think about. Pharma, I think, is going to be really big. There's a lot of money being put into that right now, especially obviously because of COVID and drug development. So more money and resources can be put towards that. So I'm excited about what's going to happen next year. And for those that want to learn more, you can find me on LinkedIn, or my email at Propellant Ventures is jason@propellant.vc. So thank you again for having me, Kyle, and LATOKEN.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Jason. And also PitchBook, on to Jason's point. PitchBook is predicting that bio, so we'll include pharma in that. That's my inclusion. But biotech is actually supposed to be one of the most, if not the most, highly funded areas around venture and PE next year. So get ready to talk a lot more about that here on VCTV. Thank you, Jason. Adrian.
biotech and robotics will be funded a lot in 2021 and beyond. I want to close with a thought about us as human beings. Most of us were taken out of our comfort zones, and usually when we are taken out of the comfort zone, that one is the space for growth. That one is the space to ignite the creativity. It was said before that in Russia, people became very creative because they had less food to eat and a very low temperature in homes. And that's why you see a lot of Russian professionals in blockchain and everywhere. This may be one of the reasons. And based on this creativity ignition, we'll see a lot of new stuff which were never before, and they will be launched starting with 2021. And we have to be very careful to learn a lot and to spot which will be the new Googles, the new Amazons, the new Apples, companies which will cherish more our privacy, will give back the power to us. So at least in theory, to have more control on our data and on what we are doing. And I can be found on LinkedIn. I also have my websites, other social media accounts, but on LinkedIn, I'm mostly active. And it was a great initiative of LATOKEN with Venture Capital TV. And I'm very grateful to be part of it. And of course, will continue if you will allow me, of course, to be part of it in 2021 and hope to contribute meaningfully to it. Thank you very much for this.
Wonderful. And thank you, Adrian. And absolutely, we look forward to your participation next year and helping you grow your TikTok following as well. That's a big goal and resolution I have for myself, is to help you get that profile going. So stay tuned.
I will work on it. I will work on it.
There you go. All right. Thank you, Adrian. Arina, to you.
Well, I'll start with Bitcoin because I have to. I think we'll get to 230 by the end of next year. So might be bigger. I don't know, considering all the things. So that I do think that we'll see first couple providers taking tourists to a low orbit. I think we'll have at least a couple buses going out in a group. So because that's already delayed, it was supposed to happen by end of this year. I think that we'll see some of the first companies coming out and launching the clusters because there's a big race for that. Probably we'll see something that is bigger push in an investment for transformative technology. Basically measurements of how you feel and how do you influence the way you think and feel through technology as well. So I think those are the things that I think about for next year that I'm kind of expecting to happen. And then also I do believe that we're due for disruption in social media. And so I think that we'll see a rise of blockchain AI platform. There are a couple of them that are running at it that will finally be able to kind of create the economics of a reward for people to contribute to the platform to get paid. And so I think that when it happens, it's going to happen fast. And putting together all of the other growth cycles, I do think that the implementation era of blockchain will allow us to facilitate the benefits, and social media is kind of one of the easiest speakings that is out there for that. So that's where I am. But 230.
230. All right. Stay tuned, ladies.
Yeah.
We're 230K. Okay, so we're coming back. We're gonna.
Yeah. At the 230, I'm buying all of it.
Right. 230K.
Selling.
We're coming back to revisit that at the end of next year's episode on VCTV. Thank you, Arina. Noble. quickly to you, closing thoughts, prediction for next year, and where can everyone find you?
Well, based on Irina's prediction, the next pullback, I'm in. So we all know there's going to be a pullback. So I'm going to buy more than what I have. So my biggest prediction for 2021 is that the gaming is going to be the new gig economy, period. That now that NFTs are becoming more solidified, we're building stuff on the EOS network, we're building stuff on Wax, that people are going to look at that as the alternative form of income even more aggressively than before. And it's not going to just be esports. It's going to be a side development of people being able to mine, create, and develop income just the way anything else was when Bitcoin, So I think there's going to be an even more aggressive push with the people who farm games to win and get assets and artifacts that are now being able to put on these set exchanges like Atomic and OpenSea and all these places. It's great that the artists are going to be involved, but I believe gaming is really 100% the push. The second big prediction is that the hammer regulation globally is going to be so aggressive in 2021 as to be almost stifling in a lot of sectors, because they're going to be aggressive and retroactively trying to figure out what they missed. XRP is just, I believe, the first of many groups and companies that are going to be brought up by the SEC for what they've done. And I think that overall, the idea of deregulation, decentralization, as we talked before, Kyle, is going to immediately become very clear what that means. It's great. And then I guess the third big prediction is that unfortunately, a lot of people are going to be confused about how to make investments. We've got a flood of opportunities coming into 2021. They've increased the minimum for CF to 5 million. They've redefined what accredited investors are. They've opened up the floodgates for the 506Cs, which we really focus on. They've turned around and allowed companies to list on the stock market immediately, plus what Irina talked about. So it's almost like it's the turn of the century, and it's Wall Street again, where people are standing in the corner selling stock. So we're going to see a big boom in this side of it that's going to have a 2022 repercussions as well. So it's very exciting what's happening, but we're all walking through minefields.
Thank you, Noble. And Jose, close us out.
So first of all, I would like to thank LATOKEN for the opportunity to have me and BizMoney here on their shows. Also, the excellent work that I've seen from VCTV. Also, a special thanks for all these special persons that are on the panel every time. I really have enjoyed it always. We had also conversations in parallel. And my closing thoughts goes into this direction. We have this problem that, I've been talking about, and we are really the pioneers in this area of business inclusion. And I can say today that probably we are the leaders that is hearing this forward to get those people in. But I would like to invite all these VCs and also here the panel members to basically work with us together, because the essence is like this. They always have a hard time to find those talented people. They cannot convince me that the amount of funds that are available on the market, which is less than 1%, and the amount of people that is funded today, that they are getting the best of the best of the best talent. It's simply not possible. So we at BizMoney, what we want to do is become a birthplace that we are able to move that talent forward one way or the other, and that they can pick it up and move it forward to become eventually those X amount of unicorns that we are talking about. Because there is no way they will know who is going to be the next unicorn. It's all guesses. Everybody is chasing the same. What I can tell you is if you pick them up early, right, and you know how they are and how they behave, it's much easier to get the job done. So finishing here, I would like to wish everybody a very, very happy and profitable 2021, and invite everybody really to cooperate with us, and let's make this happen. Thank you, Kyle.
Thank you, Jose. Thank you, Jason, Noble, Arena, Adrian. Thank you all. It has been an absolute pleasure sharing the stage with each of you, not just today, but for this entire year here in 2020. It's been wild. Adrian, you can go ahead and pop that if it's your time. It's 5 o'clock somewhere, so go for it. But it has been an absolute pleasure sharing the stage with you and learning so much about what's happening in the world from your on-the-ground perspective and just your perspectives in general. You have such a diverse background and insight from different technologies, industries, and regions around the world. It has been an absolute honor to share this stage with you and hear and learn all that, and also be able to provide that back to our audience here at VCTV. So as we sign off here on 2020 and get ready in prep for 2021, thank you all very, very much. And thank you to all of the panelists and investors and guests and startups and founders that we've had here on VCTV. It's been an absolute pleasure. And for those that are listening and tuning in, if you like what you heard, and I hope you did, because this was a great episode, click subscribe, give us a thumbs up, check out the archive as you're resting before 2021 to prep yourself to have all the insights and knowledge you need to do and to make some of the best investments and start building some of the greatest companies, not just of 2021, but for the decade ahead in front of us. And if you'd like to be on a show like today as an investor, reach out. Entrepreneurs, again, what better way to rock and roll your entire 2021 than joining us here on the virtual stage that we built for you at VCTV, for you to pitch us your company, product, or service, along with building relationships with us, real-time feedback, and exposure to the entire VCTV community. To the community, a big thank you again for tuning into every episode, all episodes, all across the team and time zones as well here in 2020. Also, an amazing and big, huge, loud thank you to the LATOKEN team and to all that make VCTV possible every single day. Without you, we could not make it here and could not make this as great of a show as it has become as well. With that, I'm your host, Kyle Ellicott. You can find me online on Twitter and LinkedIn at Kyle Ellicott. You can find all of our guests online as well in their respected areas. Do reach out, add context if you'd like to continue the conversation where you heard us, where you met us, continue that trend into next year. Again, check out the archive. A big thank you. Happy New Year to everybody. We will see you back here on VCTV with myself, the team, and all these great panelists in 2021 in just a few short days. Take care, everybody. Thank you.
Bye. Happy New Year.
Yeah.
Happy New Year.
Happy New
Bye.
Year,
Happy
everybody.
New Year, everybody.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.